Pope Clement V pardoned Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Knights Templar, absolving him of charges of heresy. In 1775, the Spanish established the Presidio San Agustin de Tucson, which became Tucson, Arizona. And in 1794, on this day, the Battle of Fallen Timbers, American troops forced a confederacy of Shawnee, Delaware, Wyandotte, Miami, Ottawa, Chippewa, and Potawatomi warriors into disorganized retreat. In 1858, Charles Darwin first published The Theory of Evolution Through Natural Selection in the Journal of the Proceedings of the Linnean Society of London. And I forgot, last time I talked about Darwin, I couldn't find my Darwin letter, and I found it, so I want to pass it around today. Try to not pass the same things around all the time. This is a letter written by Darwin. Let's see, we think it's in 1870, although it's dated December 28th, and he's thanking a person who wanted to translate his book into Dutch, but he'd already arranged for someone else to do it, so couldn't do that. But at any rate, his letters are rather scarce, and I wanted to pass that around. So that was Darwin. And then it's interesting to me that Darwin's discovery, which happens a lot, was also made at the same time by an Alfred Russel Wallace, who got no credit for it. But at any rate, that happens, doesn't it, quite often. In 1920, on this date, the first commercial radio station, 8MK, now WWJ, begins its operations in Detroit, Michigan, the same community that brought us Kiwanis International 5 years before. And in 1938, on this day, Lou Gehrig hit his 23rd career Grand Slam, a record that still stands to this day. I brought a different ball signed by Lou Gehrig. This one's a little bit more beat up. It's actually the 27 Yankees ball, so signed by a team that were signed by Babe Ruth. Actually signed by Babe Ruth twice if you look real close. Some kid must ask him to sign it one way and then across the sweet spot. But if you look on the side that has the Rawlings on it, you'll see a signature that's Lou Gehrig's, and a lot of people don't recognize his signature, but one of the grand people of baseball. Died of ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease as we commonly know it today. In 1940, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who's also an American citizen, makes the fourth of his famous wartime speeches containing the line, "Never was so much owed by so many to so few," and that was done on this day. In 1962, I may have passed this around before, but there's a menu signed by him with one of his cigars. In 1962, the Savannah, the world's first nuclear-powered civilian ship, embarked on its maiden voyage on this day. And in 1988, those of us that remember Yellowstone the way it was before, was Black Saturday, the big fire in Yellowstone National Park. Also a couple of events that took place on this day. U.S. President Benjamin Harrison was born on this day in 1833. Edgar Guest, the poet, I happen to like his work, English poet, was born in 1881. And Eero Saarinen, I don't know how many of you have heard of Eero Saarinen, a great Finnish architect, designed the Gateway Arch later in St. Louis. He also designed the bucket seat, which he hasn't been given as much credit for, but it has had probably more wide effect than anything else he designed. In 1931, Don King was born. He was, of course, the promoter for Ali. And Ron Paul was born on this day in 1935. Connie Chung was born on this day in 1946. And interestingly enough, with what's going on in Egypt, Mohammed Morsi was born on this day in 1951. Al Roker, 1954, and Joan Allen, the actress, in 1956. As far as his famous deaths, William Booth died on this day in 1912. He was the English preacher and co-founder of the Salvation Army. And Paul Ehrlich, the German scientist, Nobel Prize laureate, passed away on this day in 1915. Joe Rosenthal, I've shown you his, the AP photographer's picture of the raising of the flag at Iwo Jima, the most famous photograph of World War II. He passed away on this day in 2006. Leona Helmsley, who's famous for being a rich upper crust woman, businesswoman, died on this day in 2007. And Phyllis Diller, one of my favorites, died in 2012. And I was trying to find something that I have signed by her, but anyway, couldn't find it. But I did find the Darwins. I wanted to share that with you. Interesting day.